The central hub of the galaxy, the orbital port of the planet Terra, is brightly lit, like a never-ending carnival. Tens of thousands of spaceships gathered from various colonies, suspended around the huge circular track, and the low roar of their engines echoed like thunder. In the auditorium, residents from different planets crowded the holographic projection area. Some waved flashing energy flags, and some felt the pulse of the track up close through virtual reality headsets. The annual interstellar lightspeed sailing competition is the focus of the entire galaxy. At this moment every year, people can forget the hardships of the colonies and immerse themselves in the dream of speed and adventure. Jiaxi sat on the main control chair in the cockpit, tapping the control panel with her fingers, her eyes locked on the shining starting line in front of her. His spaceship, Star, a modified light cruiser, with smooth lines like a silver arrow, slightly trembling and ready to go. The voice of the family is still echoing in his ears, his father's low warning, "Jiaxi, this is not a child's play. If you lose, don't come back." As the heir to Terra's old shipping family, he should have inherited a stable trade route, but he preferred the bloody chaos of this track. With his blood rising, he took a deep breath and pressed the communication button. "Yinghui, is everything in the cabin ready?" Jiaxi's voice trembled with excitement through the internal broadcast. Yinghui, the engineer in the rear cabin, was bending over to check the glass cover of the ecological cabin. It was full of greenery, and the rare plants were swaying under the artificial light, like living emeralds. She wiped the sweat from her forehead and responded with a smile, "Ready, Captain. These little guys can't go wrong. They not only provide us with oxygen, but also maintain the entire life support system. I remember the last test, I found that the veins of the blue crystal vine were a little abnormal, and the energy output was 15% higher than the standard. Do you think this is some kind of hidden buff?" Jiaxi laughed, pushed the control stick slightly, and the spacecraft slowly slid into the starting position. "Light yellow. It sounds like something from an old game. Don't think too much, just focus on the data. Our goal this time is to be in the top 10, to prove to the old man that I, Jiaxi, am not a good kid who just hides behind." The countdown alarm sounded, and red numbers flashed on the holographic screen, 10, 9, 8. Outside the track, cheers came like a flood. Jiaxi glanced around and his eyes fell on a huge, dark spaceship, the Overlord, which was Yinghui's car. Rumor has it that this veteran racer comes from a fringe colony and is so ambitious that he could swallow up the entire galaxy. The engine of his ship is the latest quantum thruster, and its surface is engraved with flashing runes, making it look domineering. Yinghui himself said something through the public channel, "Newbies, don't block the road, otherwise you will suffer the consequences." There was a knife hidden in his tone, which made Jiaxi frown slightly. 3, 2, 1, launch. The engine roared, and the Star rushed out of the starting line like an arrow. The track is a winding passage extending from Terra's orbit, shuttling between the asteroid belt and the artificial force field. The first stage is this high-intensity curve test, which tests the driver's accuracy and reaction. Jiaxi held the control stick firmly with both hands, and the spacecraft flexibly switched orbits to avoid a heavy cargo conversion ship ahead. "Yinghui, monitor the energy flow and keep it at 85%. Yinghui's voice came from the communicator, mixed with the crisp sound of keyboard tapping, "Roger. The ecological cabin is stable, and those plants are breathing heavily. The output of the blue crystal vine is really good, the oxygen purity is 99.2%, it feels like they are cheering for us." The atmosphere on the track instantly became tense. The surrounding spacecraft buzzed like a swarm of bees. Someone accelerated to overtake, and the tail flames ejected blue fire. The air waves passing by made the Star sway slightly. Jiaxi narrowed his eyes and caught the small-scale collision ahead. Two medium-sized ships accidentally collided, and the debris flew everywhere, exploding in the vacuum like fireworks. He quickly pulled up the control stick, and the Star turned 90 degrees, sliding along the edge of the debris without touching it at all. "Beautiful." Yinghui couldn't help shouting, "Your driving talent is simply innate." I remember during training, you always said that the track is like the mountain roads in your hometown, and it's fun to turn around. Jiaxi grinned and adjusted the thrust distribution. Of course. Team tacit understanding is the key. Your protection makes me dare to play like this. Look, that guy Yinghui is coming up. The Overlord approached like a dark shadow, cutting in from the flank, the roar of its engines overwhelming everything else. The surface of Yinghui's spacecraft reflects starlight and looks invulnerable. He mocked in the public channel, "Boy, don't be brave, it's just the first stage, you will cry later." Jiaxi ignored it and focused on the upcoming meteorite belt. This section of the track is full of small meteorites wandering around, only a few meters in diameter, but hitting them would be a big problem. Yinghui, activate the protective force field and transfer 20% of the energy to the engine. Jiaxi ordered, his voice as smooth as water. Understood. The plants are helping, and the energy regeneration rate has increased. Yinghui responded, while the green light flashed on the monitoring panel. Meteorites provide the real test. The first meteorite grazed the hull of the ship, making a low impact sound, and the star trembled. Jiaxi reacted immediately, turned the push rod to the left, and the spacecraft drew a graceful arc to avoid the second one. Behind, Yinghui's Overlord tried to overtake, but a larger meteorite blocked the way. He was forced to slow down, and curses echoed in the channel, "Damn newbie, steal my spotlight." Jiaxi seized the opportunity and sped into the gap. Yinghui, now. Thrust the engine and rush out of this section. The spacecraft was at home like a fish in water, and the team's tacit understanding was fully revealed at this moment. Yinghui adjusted the humidity of the ecological cabin in time to allow the plants to release more oxygen, which indirectly improved the engine efficiency. Jiaxi's driving was like an art, anticipating every step, avoiding collisions while also increasing the distance from Yinghui. The holographic projection in the audience flashed crazily, and the commentator's voice was excited, "Look." Jiaxi, the young captain of the Star, showed off his ace skills in his first competition. This tacit understanding and speed are simply a match made in heaven. They successfully broke out of the meteorite belt and entered the straight acceleration section. The first stage is coming to an end, the Star is ranked in the top 15, and Jiaxi's blood boils in her chest. He imagined the glory at the end, proving that he was not a burden to the family, but a leader who could blaze new trails. "Yinghui, we made it to the first stage. How do you feel?" "It's so exciting." "Those plants seem to be excited, and the leaves are shaking non-stop." Yinghui said with a smile, "But I have to remind you, there is something wrong with that guy Yinghui's ship. The scan shows that his energy source is not standard. Maybe he is hiding some tricks." Jiaxi nodded and was about to respond when suddenly, a low abnormal sound came from the engine compartment. It was like the groan of metal fatigue, mixed with a subtle hum. The warning light on the control panel flashed red and the energy reading fluctuated slightly. "What the hell?" "Yinghui, check the engine." Yinghui's voice was tense for a moment, "We are watching. There is abnormal vibration in the speed of light core. Captain, this is not a trivial matter, we have to be careful." As soon as Yinghui finished speaking, an even harsher buzzing sounded in the cockpit of the Star, like the broken brewing machine in an old interstellar teahouse, complaining intermittently. Jiaxi's brows furrowed as he quickly glanced at the holographic display. The end light of the first stage had just flashed, and the track had already entered the second stage. This section was the famous, ghost meteorite belt, where countless wandering meteorites were hidden in the shadows of the force field like ghosts, and half the ship would have to be destroyed if they were not careful. The energy reading began to decline, from the original 85% to 78%, and the spacecraft's acceleration became obviously sluggish. "Yinghui, give me detailed data. Where does this strange noise come from?" Jiaxi said as he adjusted the course. The Star tilted slightly to avoid a vague group of meteorites ahead. His fingers flew across the control panel, optimizing an S-shaped circuitous path, using the edge of the artificial force field to reduce the load on the engine. This route is not a straight-line sprint, but like the mountain road race in my hometown of Terra, it is roundabout and energy-saving, specially designed to deal with this kind of ghost place with flying rocks. Yinghui was in front of the console in the rear cabin, tapping the keyboard with her hands like butterflies. A 3D model of the engine popped up on the screen, with red warning lines pulsing like blood vessels. Captain, the vibration comes from the folded ring of the lightspeed core. It may be the resonance caused by the meteorite impact in the first stage. The energy flow is now unstable and the thrust output has dropped by 12%. Our speed is declining, and the medium-sized ships behind us have already caught up. If this continues, the elimination zone is right in front of us. Jiaxi gritted her teeth, and a flash of her family's father's face flashed through her mind. The old man always said he was too impulsive, but now, he had to be steady and not let the team collapse. Don't panic, Yinghui. It's not our first day at sea. Tell me how the eco-cabin is. Are those green devils still helping? Yinghui turned her head and glanced at the plants inside the glass cover. The rare blue crystal vines and silver leaf algae were spreading wildly, and the blue light in the leaf veins flashed brighter than usual, as if they were having a party. She leaned closer to the sensor, and the data flowed like a waterfall. Exceptionally active. Captain, guess what? The energy output of the blue crystal vines has jumped to 25% of the standard, the oxygen generation rate has soared, and even the humidity has adjusted itself. They seem to be responding to the pressure of the engine and releasing extra particles. Could it be that they have evolved? This is no small discovery. It feels like the spiritual grass in old legends, which can save lives in times of crisis. Jiaxi felt her heart heat up after hearing this, and laughter echoed in the communicator. Spiritual grass. It sounds like the interstellar fairy tales we watched when we were children. Yinghui, your research always hits the mark. Keep monitoring, transfer 10% of the ecological energy to the engine stabilizer, and see if you can suppress the vibration. Under Jiaxi's control, the spacecraft flexibly shuttled between the meteorites, like a silver fish swimming among the rocks. He predicted the trajectory of each stone, occasionally pushed the rod to raise, and used the gravity field to flick its tail to avoid danger. Yinghui's voice came intermittently, mixed with excitement and worry. The transfer was successful. The vibration has slowed down a bit, but the abnormal noise is still getting worse. Captain, your route optimization is awesome, saving 15% of fuel. If the engine doesn't make noise, we can be in the top 10. At this moment, a black shadow appeared on the rear-view holographic screen like a ghost, Overlord. The engine of Yinghui's spaceship spurted out dazzling quantum blue flames, and the speed exploded instantly. It overtook the car from the flank, and the exhaust wave almost hit the star. In the public channel, Yinghui's voice was filled with triumphant mockery. Hey, newbie, the engine is broken. It sounds like an old ox pulling a cart. Don't get in the way, get out of the way. His tone was like a black market trader in a fringe colony, hiding the shadow of a sword. Jiaxi snorted coldly and had no time to reply, concentrating on keeping the distance between him and an oncoming meteorite. Yinghui, there is indeed something wrong with Yinghui's ship's energy source. Scan his tail flames, and the quantum thruster shouldn't be so stable. Yinghui quickly switched the scanning mode, and the data popped up, confirmed. His energy waveform is not standard, and there is an additional injected particle flow. It may be a legal modification. Captain, he is still monitoring us. A weak tracking signal was detected, sent from the Overlord, directed towards our ecological cabin. Damn it, what is this guy planning? A sense of crisis ran through Jiaxi's back like an electric current, but he suppressed it and encouraged the team with a calm tone. Listen, Yinghui, we are not alone. Remember what we said before starting? This track is like a pot of interstellar hot soup. Whoever panics first will get hot. Your plant buff is helping us. No matter how fast the bastard Yinghui is, he can't stop our tacit understanding. Take a deep breath, concentrate on the data, I will open the way. Yinghui responded with a hint of smile and warmth in her nervousness. Understood, Captain. Your leadership style always reminds me of Terra's street racers. They talk tough but know what they know. The data shows that the plant's particle release is synchronized with the engine vibration, which may serve as a temporary buffer. But the core damage is expanding, and the alloy layer of the folded ring shows signs of cracks. If it collapses, we will have to make a hard landing. The team's interaction has brought them closer during the crisis, and Jiaxi feels that the bond that has been brewing since the starting line has become stronger. He recalled that during training, Yinghui was always the stubborn figure repairing the ship late at night. Now, her research has become a life-saving straw. Let's cooperate in diagnosis, Yinghui. Follow my steps. First isolate the core area, and then inject ecological particles to test the reaction. You are responsible for the injection, and I will monitor the route. Roger. Isolation activated. Yinghui's operation was smooth, with green lights and red warnings intertwined on the screen. As she was doing it, she said, during the injection, the particles reacted well with the alloy, and the crack expansion stopped. But Captain, this is just a temporary measure. The core of the lightspeed engine is too damaged, and it is estimated that it will not be able to survive the next scoring point. The speed is now only 70% of the original, and we are sliding towards the edge of elimination. Before he finished speaking, the communication light in the cockpit suddenly turned on, and an official holographic projection popped up, the inspector of the Interstellar Alliance, with a face as serious as iron, and the blue badge of the Alliance in the background. Star, this is the Alliance monitoring channel. Your energy readings are abnormal and your speed has dropped significantly. Report the situation. Are there any illegal modifications? According to competition regulations, any malfunction must be reported immediately, otherwise points will be deducted until elimination. Is there a lot of external pressure? The audience is watching. Jiaxi's heart sank. This communication was like a sap, and the external eyes made the crisis worse. He took a deep breath and responded calmly, Inspector, we are participating legally. The meteorite impact in the first stage caused engine vibration, and the team is diagnosing it. There are no violations. Please request a delayed inspection, and we will prove our strength. The projection of the inspector nodded slightly, but his tone was unquestionable. Okay, I'll give you a 5-minute window. The data will be uploaded and the Alliance will verify it. But remember, the track is ruthless, and elimination is elimination. Keep communication open. The projection faded, and Yinghui's voice came from behind, with a hint of exhaustion but determination. Captain, the pressure from the Alliance is quite unpleasant, like the elders back home checking homework. But we have to resist. Yinghui has already moved 2 kilometers away, and his surveillance signal is still there. I feel like he is waiting for us to make a fool of ourselves. Jiaxi nodded, his eyes locked on the upcoming scoring point ahead, and the end of the meteorite belt flickered faintly. Withstanding it is victory. Yinghui, tell me, what potential does the plant have? We need an alternative, this engine can't hold on anymore. Yinghui's data scan accelerated, the image of the blue crystal vine enlarged, and the energy in the leaf veins flowed like a galaxy. Captain, look here, particles of plants can simulate folding at the speed of light, but the risk is high. The abnormal noise reached its peak at this time, the engine roared like a wild beast, the speed of the star dropped sharply, and the shadow of the ship approached from behind. Jiaxi's fists were clenched, the shadow of crisis shrouded him, but his eyes shone with unyielding light. Jiaxi's fists unclenched and clenched. The red light in the cockpit flashed like a heartbeat. He glanced at the holographic screen. The end of the meteorite belt was close at hand, but the speed of the star was shaky like a drunk space cow. Yinghui, I can't hold on any longer. We have to stop. There is an asteroid nearby, codenamed K-47. The magnetic field is stable and suitable for temporary repairs. The Alliance's 5-minute window is about to expire, and forcing the scoring point will only make us a target for meteorites. Yinghui's voice came from the back cabin, mixed with the crisp sound of keyboard tapping. Understood, Captain. The scanning data of K-47 shows that there are natural caves on the surface, which can block the signal. The engine thrust is only 65%, and I start the braking sequence. Oops, this vibration, the movement was like an earthquake on Terra, and the plants were shaking. As she spoke, she adjusted her posture. The star's engine gave out a final whine, and the ship suddenly shuddered, then slowly slid towards the dusty asteroid, like a tired astronaut looking for a corner to breathe. The ship's hull lightly touched the planet's surface, and Jiaxi pulled down the emergency anchor rod. The inertial force field in the cabin buzzed, stabilizing them. The outer cabin door was sealed, and dust was flying outside the view window. He turned around and shouted to Yinghui, "I will patrol outside the cockpit to confirm that there are no trackers. You go straight to the ecological cabin and dig deep into the secrets of those green devils. Remember, Yinghui's eyes are still watching." "Copy that. Don't be a hero, Captain." Yinghui took off her goggles, grabbed the toolbox, and hurriedly walked through the corridor. When the door of the eco-cabin slid open, a moist green rush rushed in. The blue crystal vines trembled slightly like living creatures, and crystal dewdrops condensed on the leaves of the silver leaf algae. She knelt down, put on her gloves, approached a main vine, and lightly touched the veins of the leaves with the sensor probe. "Come on, little one, tell your sister what treasure you have hidden." The data stream poured into her bracelet instantly, and a waveform popped up on the screen, irregular energy pulses, like an electrocardiogram beating wildly. Jiaxi came back from the cockpit, his body covered in planetary dust. He opened the ecological cabin door and gasped, "It's clean outside, and there's no sign of Yinghui's ship. But I scanned a trace of residual signal, which may be his probe. Yinghui, how are you? Are those plants still partying?" Yinghui raised her head, her eyes sparkling like an explorer who discovered a new world. "Captain, you won't believe it. I just injected a trace of engine residual particles, and their reaction, look." She pointed at the sensor, and on the waveform chart, a strange blue energy wave spread like ripples, rising from the roots of the vines, lightly touching the bulkhead, and then dissipated. This is not ordinary oxygen generation. This fluctuation frequency coincides with the energy field of the lightspeed folding ring. They are releasing some kind of quantum entanglement particles, as if they are trying to repair the damage around them. The adventure element is perfect. This feels like the interstellar elixir in old legends, which can save oneself in times of crisis. Jiaxi came closer, squatted beside her, put her hands on the ground, and the shadow of her father flashed through her heart. The old man always said with a straight face in the projection communication in Terra's old house, "Jiaxi, the competition is not a child's play, the honor of the family rests on your shoulders. Don't give up halfway like your brother, prove us not the laughingstock of the fringe colony." He shook his head, suppressed the pressure, and said to Yinghui, "It sounds crazy, but I believe in your expertise. Come on, I'm responsible for repairing the energy transfer pipeline, and we have to conduct a small-scale test to prevent it from backfired on the ship." Yinghui nodded and handed him a connecting line. "Okay, Captain, your decisions are always timely. Looking back on the training, you always said that the team is like a spacecraft part, each one is indispensable. Now, we will prove this." She carefully extracted a small group of particle samples from the vines and poured them into the temporary container. Jiaxi was welding the pipeline next to her, sparks flying, like a street welder on an edge planet. "Injecting, the fluctuation is stable. Look, the alloy cracks are healing, and the energy reading has increased by 3%. At this moment, Yinghui's bracelet alarm sounded, and she turned around suddenly. "Captain, reconnaissance drone." Yinghui's, in stealth mode, sprang out of the planet's shadow and headed straight for our cabin door. Jiaxi cursed, grabbed the pulse gun, and rushed to the outside window. "Damn, this guy's nose is worse than a star dog. Yinghui, activate the interference field, I will divert it." He jumped out of the cabin door, stepped on the loose soil of the planet with his boots, and aimed the pulse gun at the blurry black shadow. "Hey, little bug, get away." A blue light was shot out, and the drone dodged nimbly, but Jiaxi predicted the trajectory and hit the tail with the second shot. It made a sizzling sound and fell crookedly towards the crater. After returning to the cabin, Jiaxi wiped her sweat and said with a smile, "Solved. But Yinghui must know that we docked." "Yinghui, what's your hypothesis?" Yinghui gestured with the data chart excitedly. "It's absolutely feasible. These fluctuations can simulate the quantum locking of the folded ring. If injected into the core, the cracks can be temporarily repaired. The risk is an unknown reaction, but for small-scale testing, let's try the auxiliary system. That is the spare tire of the engine. Once it is repaired, the thrust can be restarted," she said while operating. Jiaxi assisted in fixing the container, and the two of them had a tacit understanding like old partners. Injection, stable. The auxiliary system is online, and the energy output jumps to 80%. The lights in the cabin turned on, the buzzing turned into a steady hum, and the blue light of the plants flashed like a celebration. Jiaxi patted her shoulder, and a warm current surged in her heart. The family's expectations were no longer a shackle, but the fuel for progress. He thought that this time, he would not only prove himself on the track, but also find balance in the team. "Yinghui, your contribution is the key. Without your research, we would have been eliminated long ago. We are ready to return to the track. The scoring points for the second stage are waiting." At the same time, in the cockpit of the Overlord, Yinghui leaned on the luxurious seat and stared at the black market intelligence terminal with a sneer on his lips. A projection of a contact person wearing sunglasses appeared. "Boss, the star has docked at K-47. My drone was shot down, but it captured the energy peak of the ecological cabin, abnormally high, like a plant releasing quantum waves. There are rumors on the black market that there is something weird about their blue crystal vine. Maybe it is an energy source banned by the Alliance." Yinghui's eyes narrowed and he hit the panel with his fist. "Interesting, the newbie Jiaxi has hidden a treasure. We can't let him keep it to himself. This technology is worth hundreds of billions of star coins. Start an intervention plan, launch jamming missiles to force them to deviate from the track. Let them know that the interstellar race is not a child's play." He pressed the button, and the Overlord's weapon bay slid open, and a red light burst out, heading straight for K-47. The star's engine roared again. Jiaxi pulled up the joystick, and the ship's hull left the planet's surface and slid into the track. "Yinghui, the auxiliary system is as stable as Terra wine. Let's seize the first 15 and regain our strength." Yinghui's laughter echoed in the communication. "Captain, the data is perfect." The plants seem to be cheering. "Wait, the signal from the rear is abnormal. Yinghui's missile is coming, lock it from the flank." Jiaxi jerked the course, and the star rolled sideways to avoid the first red light, but the second one passed the stern of the ship, and the shock wave made the cabin tremble. In the public channel, Yinghui's voice sounded like a poisonous snake. "Newbie, can you use the speed of light to play?" The crisis resurfaced. Jiaxi's eyes were filled with fighting spirit, and the chase on the track had just begun. In the back cabin, Yinghui's voice was mixed with the clanking of tools. "Captain, don't panic. The plant energy is still buffering. I will optimize the injection now. The test just now proved that their quantum waves can stabilize the folded ring. According to the Alliance rules, the auxiliary energy source must comply with the ecological balance clause, otherwise points will be deducted. But this thing is purely natural and absolutely legal." She quickly drew a small bottle of blue crystal vine extract, and the liquid inside swirled like a galaxy. She put on her gloves and injected it into the energy transfer line. The waveform on the screen instantly smoothed, and the roar of the engine changed from intermittent to a low roar. "It's done. The thrust has returned to 85%, and it is as stable as the Yangtze River water in Terra. Let's return to the track and bite those guys in the middle." The tail flame of the star exploded, and the ship accelerated violently, throwing away the missile's wake and sliding into the second stage of the track. This section of the track is the vortex area of the Milky Way arm, and the interstellar landscape is as magnificent as a living picture. In front are bright nebulae, purple-blue gas clouds stacked like Chinese ink paintings, and the pink light of newborn stars is faintly revealed. But danger also follows. Sporadic electromagnetic storms whip into the void like lightning whips, and the slightest carelessness will tear the hull apart. Jiaxi adjusted the course, and the star sailed lightly through a cloud of hydrogen. The speedometer needle climbed to 0.95 the speed of light, and gradually caught up with several ships in the middle stream. The tail lights of those ships swayed in front of them like fireflies. Jiaxi's hands clenched the joystick, his knuckles turned white, and the star was shaking like a drunkard in the shock waves. He glanced at the rear-view holographic screen. Yinghui's overlord flickered red light at the edge of the distant nebula, like a space wolf waiting for an opportunity. Yinghui, how's the engine? The missile's aftermath reduced the thrust to 70%. We can't take another beating. Yinghui's laughter came from the communicator, as clear as a bell. Haha, Captain, your driving is like the Monkey King in Peking opera. But the secret of the plant is not finished yet. The quantum entangled particles in the extract I just refined not only repair the engine, they can also amplify the speed of light. The efficiency of the jump. Imagine if the entire alliance knew that this could subvert interstellar trade. It is no longer a quantum engine monopolized by the nobles, and our marginal colonies can fly higher. She said while monitoring the data, adjusting the injection valve, and letting the blue light pulse along the pipeline. However, the risk is not small. Excessive injection may cause a reaction and the ship's hull will expand like a balloon. Article 17 of the Alliance Rules states that the energy source must be sustainable, otherwise it will be regarded as illegal modification. That guy Yinghui must be thinking about this. Yinghui, did you see that? We have surpassed that old colonial cargo ship and are now ranked 12th. Jiaxi's voice was filled with excitement. The shadow of the family faded like morning mist, replaced by the tacit understanding of the team. He recalled the days in the training camp. Yinghui was always the one who stayed up all night debugging in the simulation cabin. Now, their cooperation makes everything possible. Jiaxi nodded and stared at the upcoming jump point ahead. The space there was folded like invisible doors, a shortcut to the track. That's right, Yinghui. Your research on these green goblins is our trump card. I remember when I was a kid on the Edge planet, my dad always forced me to learn to pilot, saying that the family's spaceship factory could not fail. But now, I feel that the real motivation is not the pressure, but the feeling of working side by side with you. We are not competing, but creating something. In his words, the bond between partners deepened like energy waves, and there was a flash in his heart. Maybe this is growth, from a lone ranger to a leader. When the joystick was pushed, the Xingqian roared, the surrounding space twisted into a vortex, and the landscape instantly stretched. The nebula turned into a rainbow-like ribbon, the electromagnetic storm circled like a fire dragon, the hull trembled in the fold, and the G-force pressed so hard that the edges of Jiaxi's vision blurred. But the blue light of the plant seeped out from the cabin, acting like a shield to cushion the impact. They successfully jumped over, reaching 1.1 times the speed of light, overtaking 3 mid-sized cruise ships, and ranking among the top 10. The alarm in the cabin rang briefly, and Yinghui shouted, "Perfect. The energy is stable and the plants are not losing their temper. Look over there, the scoring ring of the third stage flashes in the field of vision, we have a chance to sprint." "Captain, your words sound like lines from an old movie," Yinghui teased, with warmth hidden in her voice. "But seriously, my research also relies on your decision-making. Come on, start the high-intensity jump. The engine is injected with plant energy, and it is expected to accelerate by 20%. Get ready to feel the wildness of the interstellar." The tension of the chase came like a tide. Sweat broke out on Jiaxi's forehead, but the corners of her mouth were raised. At this moment, the holographic screen flashed a red warning, interference signal intrusion. Source, Overlord. Wei's spaceship sprang out from the flank, emitting a series of invisible interference pulses, like an invisible net, locking the star's navigation system. The ship's hull suddenly yawed toward a dangerous cloud of debris, where space debris was spinning like sharp knives. Alliance rules strictly prohibited active attacks, but jamming signals wandered in a gray area. Article 12 stipulated that only defensive jamming was allowed. Exceeding the limit would result in a suspension. Damn it, Wei's dirty trick. Jiaxi cursed and switched to manual mode with his hands flying. His piloting talent exploded at this moment, anticipating the trajectory of debris, dodging like a virtual reality game, leaning left to avoid an alloy fragment, pulling right to pass through the gas cloud. The Xingyao drew a graceful arc in the yaw, and the plant energy of the engine provided additional thrust to stabilize their balance. Yinghui, cut off the automatic navigation and let me do it manually. Tell me the energy reading. Yinghui's fingers danced on the panel. The readings are normal, Captain. Your technique is like the interstellar version of Tai Chi. As the interference signal weakened, I pushed back. The Alliance surveillance satellite will record all this. Wei, don't try to pretend to be innocent. She injected a trace of plant particles into the communication module, and the blue light pulse feedback. The interference network dissipated like smoke. The etoile returned to the track, the cloud of debris exploding with sparks behind it. The team breathed a sigh of relief, but the tension was still there. Jiaxi wiped her sweat and said with a smile, Yinghui, thank you. Our green baby not only saves the engine, but also saves lives. Keep chasing, the scoring ring is close. Yinghui responded, understood, Captain. The team is invincible. Just as they were accelerating, Wei's voice suddenly sounded in the public channel, with hypocritical concern. Hey, newbie Jiaxi, are you okay with the little accident just now? I heard that your ecological cabin is a bit special. The blue light flashes like a black market energy crystal. Share. The Alliance shares the spirit. Maybe I can help you avoid the next storm. His tone was tentative, with a hint of greed, and the outline of the conspiracy appeared like a shadow on the edge of a nebula. Jiaxi glanced at the screen, and his fighting spirit became more intense. Brother Wang, thank you for your concern. Our plants are just household goods. You can concentrate on your quantum thruster. See the truth on the track. He cut off the channel, held the joystick tightly, and the star rushed towards the scoring ring, the flames of pursuit burning. The star's engines roared past the scoring ring, a blue halo of light flashed around the ship, and their names jumped to 8th place on the scoreboard. Jiaxi let go of the joystick and took a deep breath. The track ahead had turned into the middle section, the edge of the black hole. This area is like the forbidden gate of the galaxy. The space is distorted into countless ripples by invisible gravity. The stars in the field of vision are stretched into curved lines of fire. If there is a slight deviation, it will be sucked into the dark abyss that will never look back. The Alliance's warning light flashed on the holographic screen. The middle section was the most dangerous, with a pass rate of less than 60%. Yinghui, are you ready to travel through the black hole? The twists in this place are like Sichuan pepper water, so spicy that it dazzles the eyes. Jiaxi said, adjusting her posture so that the bow of the star was pointed at the vague gravity well in front of her. The family communicator suddenly buzzed, and he glanced at it. It was the image projection of his father, with the usual seriousness on his old face. Yinghui responded from the back cabin, her voice mixed with the rhythm of keyboard tapping. Captain, I am monitoring the injection of plant energy. The quantum waves of the blue crystal vine can alleviate the space pull, and the travel time is expected to be shortened by 30%. But it must be precise. Too much injection, the hull will bulge like a balloon. Article 19 of the Alliance rules, energy imbalance will directly eliminate it. She paused, and added with a smile, don't worry about the family, I will handle the communication. You concentrate on driving the ship. Jiaxi nodded and pressed the answer button. The father's voice came immediately, as sonorous as an old-fashioned radio. Jiaxi, what are you doing? Number 8. The family spaceship factory is betting on you, and the shareholders of the marginal colonies are watching. Stop playing those little tricks, play it safe, and listen to me, just slow down and avoid the edge of the black hole and stay in the top 10. In the video, his father's brows were furrowed. In the background was the shipyard of his home planet, with steel frames standing like the Great Wall. Jiaxi's throat tightened as her mind flashed back to the days of the training camp, those simulation matches where she was pushed to the limit countless times. But now, he is not the boy bound by pressure. Dad, I know you are worried about the family, but this is not a steady game. Our team has its own rhythm, and Yinghui's plant energy allows us to push through. It's not for shareholders, but to prove that marginal colonies can fly higher. His voice was steady, without the anger of the past, but with a newfound determination. After learning to trust Yinghui and the team, the shadow of his family peeled off like an old ship's hull, and he finally saw that the way forward was not a shackles, but a bridge to the stars. The father was stunned, and the image trembled slightly. You have changed. Okay, kid, don't let me down. The family supports you, but remember, no one owes you on the track. The communication was cut off, and the corners of Jiaxi's mouth rose slightly. Yinghui's voice sounded in time, Captain, the family communication is over. The data shows that the particle structure of the blue crystal vine comes from the ancient colonial ruins, possibly the ancestors of the Qinling star. The plants there can resonate with the quantum resonance of space. Imagine that if it is made public, this can make all spaceships as free as light, changing the interstellar trade pattern, from aristocratic monopoly to everyone sharing, like the reopening of the Silk Road in the Tang dynasty. Qinling star. It sounds like a legend. Jiaxi responded, holding the joystick again with both hands. The star was approaching the edge of the black hole, and space began to distort. The surrounding starlight bent into a rainbow-like arc, and the ship's hull made a slight creaking sound, as if being pulled by invisible hands. Yinghui, inject energy. We have to travel through this twisted space. Stable. The fluctuations of the plants are correcting the trajectory, resolving the pulling force like a Tai Chi push hand. Captain, your driving is perfect, lean 5 degrees to the left and avoid the gravitational ripples. Yinghui's voice was excited and nervous. She stared at the screen and quickly adjusted the valve. Conversations flow like energy, allowing team chemistry to shine through in a crisis. Jiaxi followed her guidance and made fine adjustments manually. The star glided in twists and turns, like a dancer spinning in the storm. The blue light enveloped the hull like a shield, resolving most of the space tearing. They successfully crossed through, and the roar of the black hole behind them gradually faded away. The speedometer needle jumped to 1.3 times the speed of light, overtaking the 2 cruise ships in front, and jumping to 6th place. Understood. Injecting. Yinghui's operation caused the blue light of the ecological cabin to bloom, and energy poured into the engine like a pulse. The star accelerated violently, its bow cut into the gravity well, and its field of view instantly stretched. The horizon of the black hole ahead was like a huge mouth that swallowed everything. The material on the edge spiraled into a ring of fire, and the surrounding space folded layer upon layer, like a three-dimensional Dunhuang mural disintegrating. As the G pressure came on, Jiaxi felt that his bones were shaking, but he did not panic, but shouted, Yinghui, how are the readings? Are we off track? But at the moment when he was relieved, Jiaxi's vision flickered. Plant energy overload? No, it was a brief hallucination. Blue light seeped into his nerves, and a prophetic picture flashed in his mind. Yinghui's overlord sprang out from the side, drones swarmed towards the ecological cabin, and debris and explosions bloomed in the starry sky. He blinked, the hallucination fading, his heart racing. Yinghui, I just saw something. Yinghui's drone invaded our cabin. Yinghui's response was hasty, it's not an illusion. The alarm went off, an external intrusion signal, coming from the overlord. A swarm of small drones are trying to hack into the ecological cabin and steal plant data. On the holographic screen, red dots approached like fireflies, and a dozen micro-spy drones flashed in the residual gravity at the edge of the black hole. Direct intrusion was strictly prohibited by the Alliance rules, but Yinghui's movements were wandering around the edge, like the tricks of an old fox. Damn it, he heard our communication. Jiaxi cursed and switched to defense mode. His piloting talent exploded, and the star turned sharply, throwing off the main tracking, but the drones were as nimble as swallows, and two of them were close to the outer shell of the ecological cabin, and the laser probes tried to cut it. Yinghui, let me lure them away. You seal the hatch. Captain, trust me, I will fight back. Yinghui did not hesitate, grabbed the pulse gun from the back cabin, and connected it to the external interface of the hull. Her fingers flew, injecting plant particles into the defense network, and blue light pulses spread out like a network. These little things want to steal our green baby. There is no way. Look at my quantum interference, like a fly thrown into a chili pot. She pulled the trigger, and the pulse wave swept through, paralyzing the three drones instantly and exploding into sparks. Jiaxi laughed and manipulated the hull to draw an S-shaped trajectory, luring the remaining drones to chase him. Yinghui, 2 on the right wing. Your marksmanship is like a dart in a martial arts movie. He predicted the trajectory, and with a sharp pull, the energy tail flame from the stern of the ship hit one of the drones, and the fragments scattered like fireworks. The team's interaction was like a tacit understanding. Yinghui's analysis and shooting coupled with Jiaxi's dodge, the drone group gradually disintegrated, and the last one was captured by the blue light network, and the data stream instantly fed back. Yinghui's mark was clearly visible, and his stealing intention was fully exposed. Yinghui, we won this wave. The Alliance Supervisory Committee has seen the records and Yinghui has failed this time. Jiaxi gasped, feeling warm in her heart. In the face of the invasion, he did not face the invasion alone, but relied entirely on the team. This is growth. From a passionate boy to a mature captain, trust is like an engine that drives everything. Yinghui's laughter was clear. Captain, that's right. The plant data is safe, now accelerate and sprint. We are in the lead, and ahead is the middle finish ring. The star's engine roared, the blue light bloomed, and the speed soared to 1.5 times the speed of light, throwing away the group of midships and jumping into fourth place. The public channel suddenly exploded, and the Alliance broadcast rang, invasion confirmed, Overlord Point's deduction is under investigation. Yinghui's voice did not come again, but on the rear-view screen, his spacecraft suddenly accelerated. From the fifth jump, the tail flame burst out with an unusual red light. A bigger attack was coming, like the muffled thunder before a storm. The red light on the rear-view screen approached like a wolf's eyes, and the Overlord's tail flames distorted the space, approaching 1.6 times the speed of light. Old guy Yinghui dares to catch up so blatantly before the point deduction investigation is over. Jiaxi's heartbeat was like a war drum. He glanced at the holographic dashboard. The midterm finish ring was flashing in front of him. The blue energy field was like a circle of welcoming lanterns, marking the halfway turn of the track. But now, the crisis is not over yet. Yinghui's ship is accelerating. What the hell is his red light? The thruster is overloaded. Jiaxi shouted, switching the defense frequency with her fingers quickly, and the star's shield buzzed, preparing to deal with possible interference waves. Yinghui rushed out of the back cabin, beads of sweat on her forehead flashing under the blue light. In her hand, she held a makeshift stabilizer, a quantum module wrapped around a blue crystal vine rhizome, which looked like a sci-fi version of a Chinese knot. Captain, it's not overloading, it's because he stole technology similar to ours. The red light has traces of plant energy, but it's not pure, like a low-quality fake. Engine failure? No, our main engine overheated after crossing the black hole. The energy injection was not enough, and the speed was stuck at 1.5 times. We have to inject the core energy of the blue crystal vine at full speed and restart it. Jiaxi gritted his teeth, and the hallucination just now flashed through his mind. It was not a coincidence, but a warning from the quantum waves of the plant. He took a deep breath and felt a surge of heat in his heart. He couldn't back down. This was the moment to prove himself and really fly out from the shadow of his family. Okay, Yinghui, you take charge of the injection. I'll steer the ship and stabilize it. Tell me what to do. Listen, Captain, I connected the stabilizing device to the eco-cabin to filter the fluctuations and make the energy as soft and strong as Tai Chi, without bursting the pipe. Yinghui knelt in front of the console, the cable wrapped around her arm like a snake. She typed on the keyboard, her voice was urgent but it is clear and coherent. The roots of the blue crystal vine release particle flow, which is poured directly into the core of the engine. The injection volume is set to the maximum, and the speed is expected to reach 2.0 times, but the G-force will be like a roller coaster, so hold on tight. Now, press the red button to synchronize my timing. Jiaxi nodded, holding the joystick with both hands like iron vices. The star trembled slightly, the stardust in the middle section of the track filled the air like mist, and the tail flames of the three leading ships in front stretched into a line in the field of vision. He pressed the button, and Yinghui's stabilizing device lit up, and blue light poured into the engine pipes like a river bursting its banks. The ship's hull shook, the low roar turned into a high-pitched roar, and the main engine restarted. The energy wave spreads like a pulse, the hull of the star emits a metallic song, and the speedometer needle beats wildly, 1.7, 1.8, 1.9. Finally locked at 2.0 times the speed of light. The field of vision lengthened, and the star cut into the leading group like a sharp sword. The space was compressed into a tunnel, and the stars turned into streamers of light. Jiaxi's piloting talent was fully realized. He anticipated every tiny gravitational ripple. With a flick of his wrist, the ship's hull slid past the side of a silver spaceship. The captain of that ship cursed on the public channel, "Damn it, why did the bumpkins from the Edge colony suddenly explode?" When the star overtook the second ship, the blue flames of the engine swept across the opponent's shield, sparking sparks, and their names jumped to the top of the scoreboard. The midsection finish ring enlarged in front of our eyes, and the blue halo was like a welcoming arch. The star passed by, the points jumped greatly, and the whole audience announced, "The star is the winner of the midsection. The speed record has been updated. It's done. Captain, we're flying like a rocket." Yinghui cheered and patted Jiaxi on the shoulder, her eyes flashing with the enthusiasm of a scientist. "The stabilizing device is perfect, and the plant energy has not been wasted. Look ahead, the three ships have become smaller in our rearview mirror." Laughter erupted in the cabin. Jiaxi let go of the joystick and turned around to give Yinghui a high five. "Yinghui, your stabilizing device is a genius invention. Without you, we would still be circling on the edge of the black hole. The victory of the team feels as good as having a New Year's meal." His voice was full of gratitude, and the joy of growth surged like energy. From carrying it alone to the tacit cooperation now, he finally understood that courage is not a matter of one person. Yinghui wiped her sweat and smiled like a girl next door. "Captain, your driving is a stroke of genius. We have kept the secret of the blue crystal vine. Come, celebrate." I took out the bottle of Qinling star fruit wine from the storage compartment, and cheers to victory. She poured out 2 cups of green liquid. The aroma of the wine was mixed with the freshness of plants, like the sweet-scented osmanthus brewed in her hometown. The two clinked their glasses, and the wine floated into beads in zero gravity. Jiaxi drank it in one gulp, and felt warm in her heart. For the new interstellar era, let's do it. But the celebration had just begun when the alarms suddenly sounded. On the rear view screen, the Overlord was approaching like a ghost, its red tail flame lengthening into a whip. Wang Wei's voice broke in from the public channel with a gloomy smile. "Congratulations on winning the middle section, kid. But I can see all your little secrets. Those blue light plants. Hee, they have been my target for a long time. The tracker has been launched, enjoy." Tracker. Jiaxi's eyes widened. On the holographic screen, a red dot shot out from the Overlord and headed straight for the tail of the star. Yinghui threw down her wine glass and rushed towards the console. Captain, get out of the way. That's a high-frequency locking device that can stick to the hull and steal real-time data. Alliance rules prohibit such things, but he always takes advantage of loopholes. Jiaxi jerked the joystick, causing the star to turn sharply. The meteorite belt at the back of the track was approaching, and gravel was coming like raindrops. He dodged a boulder, and the tracker passed by him, but the second shot was fired, and Yinghui's spacecraft circled behind, like a hawk locking on its prey. Yinghui, analyze his weaknesses. This guy used to play dirty tricks. I've heard about his dark history. Yinghui's fingers were flying on the keyboard, and data flowed like a waterfall. Found it. Captain, Yinghui monopolized quantum fuel technology at the Galaxy Trade Competition 5 years ago, forcing the small colony to go bankrupt. The Alliance has investigated, but there is no evidence. He is now targeting Azurite Vine, just to repeat the show. On the public channel, I will broadcast his old background, you tell me. Jiaxi took a deep breath, and her courage exploded like an engine. He switched to the Alliance All channel, and his voice was sonorous. Alliance Inspection Team, listen. I am Jiaxi, Captain of the Star. Yinghui's overlord not only launches drones to invade, but also follows them with trackers. This is not a competition, it is a crime. 5 years ago, he monopolized quantum fuel and destroyed the dreams of countless edge planets. Now, he wants to steal our plant technology, monopolize interstellar navigation, and prevent the poor from flying forever. Public records, I have evidence, there are digital signatures from old cases on the wreckage of his drone. The channel boiled over instantly, with comments from the audience flooding in. Yinghui's dark history. Expose him. Come on, fringe colonies. Yinghui responded hastily, nonsense. That's slander, I want to sue. But his voice was already panicked, the red light of the Overlord dimmed slightly, and the speed dropped to 1.4 times. Yinghui shouted excitedly, Captain, the questioning worked. The Alliance has intervened and his tracker has been interfered with. But, be careful, the counterattack is coming. Before she could finish her words, a jamming pulse was shot from the Overlord and passed through the ecological cabin of the star. The ship swayed, blue light flickered, the azure vine leaves in the cabin trembled slightly, and the energy readings fluctuated like an electrocardiogram. The ecological cabin is damaged. The pulse burned the shell, the plant energy was unstable, and the engine output dropped by 10%. Yinghui hurriedly repaired it, welding sparks flew everywhere, her face was full of anxiety. Captain, we have to hold steady, otherwise the speed will turn around. Jiaxi's fist hit the console, and a chill flashed through her heart. Yinghui's counterattack was too harsh. But he did not flinch, and instead said firmly, Yinghui, fix it. We don't hide, we fight back. The Alliance channel is still open, let the whole galaxy hear the truth. Yinghui's conspiracy, that's it. Prepare to upload the data, I will lure him into the meteorite belt and let his ship show its flaws. Yinghui nodded, with a fighting spirit in her eyes, understood, Captain. The stabilization device is being upgraded, give me a minute. Let's expose him together and make this track a battlefield of justice. The star accelerated into the meteorite belt, the gravel roared like a strong wind, and the red light of the Overlord loomed behind, and the smell of gunpowder in pursuit became stronger and stronger. The star was at home in the meteorite belt. Jiaxi's hand steadily controlled the joystick. Every slight adjustment was like performing a difficult Tai Chi dance, predicting the trajectory of the gravel. On the rear view screen, the red light of the Overlord disappeared and appeared in the rain of stones. Yinghui obviously did not expect that they would take the initiative to rush into this rocky field. The speed was forced to slow down, and the momentum of the pursuit was interrupted. Yinghui, how is the repair progress? We have to get out of this damn place quickly. The third stage of the nebula fog area is about to enter. The fog there can blind the navigation. Jiaxi shouted while dodging a fist-sized meteorite fragment, with calm tension in her voice. The edge of the meteorite belt finally faded from view, and the track mark ahead flashed a warning, Stage 3, Nebula Fog Area. The broadcast sounded, with the passionate tone of the Alliance host, "Dear viewers, the competition has reached its climax. The nebula fog area is filled with quantum fog, which can distort light and signals, testing the captain's intuition and team understanding. The leading star has approached first, will it be lost in the fog?" Jiaxi took a deep breath, and a flash of alarm flashed in her heart. This place not only tests speed, but also relies on brains. He pushed the propulsion rod lightly, and the star slipped into the fog area. The vision blurred for an instant. The surrounding nebulae wrapped around the hull like cotton candy, and the navigation lines on the instrument panel began to shake like drunken fireflies. Yinghui crawled out of the ecological cabin, her body covered with the juice of the blue crystal vine and welding slag. She still held a hot tool gun in her hand, and the anxiety on her face turned into a determined smile. "Captain, it's almost done. The shell has been reinforced, and the energy fluctuations have stabilized by 80%. Wang Wei's pulse burned out several vines, but the resilience of the blue crystal vine is like the weeds in our hometown, very tenacious. Give me another minute, and I will be able to fully recover." She climbed back to the console as she spoke, and quickly connected the monitoring line. The blue light on the screen gradually stabilized, like a pool of disturbed spring water slowly clarifying. "The fog is too thick, and the radar signal is attenuated by 50%. Yinghui frowned and stared at the screen, quickly calibrating her fingers. "Captain, the standard path is hidden in the fog layer. We have to find a hidden passage, otherwise we will be overtaken by the ship behind us if we go around in a circle." Jiaxi nodded, staring at the hazy outline ahead. His driving talent turned on like a switch at this moment. He recalled the simulation games during training, and his intuition about space was like an ancestral sailing instinct. "Yinghui, the energy of the blue crystal vine, it gave us a warning at the edge of the black hole. Can you sense the path now? Try connecting to the master control and let the plant's quantum waves act as our eyes." Yinghui's eyes lit up and she quickly operated, "Smart. The biological signals of plants can penetrate the fog, just like the vein diagnosis of traditional Chinese medicine, sensing the hidden energy flow." She connected the output line of the ecological cabin to the navigation system. The vines of the blue crystal vine trembled slightly, and subtle green pulses appeared on the screen, like a three-dimensional map in the fog. "Look, this is a hidden path. It bypasses the main fog group and goes straight to the acceleration zone. Captain, follow the green line, I will monitor the fluctuations." The star deflected slightly, Jiaxi's hands were as precise as a painter's, and the ship slid into the channel guided by the green pulse. Hidden quantum ripples in the fog were caught in plant energy, and they avoided a deadly fog blast that could tear through shields like an invisible reef. Behind, several following spaceships mistakenly entered the main fog, and curses were heard on the radio. "Damn it, the navigation failed." Jiaxi couldn't help but smile. "Yinghui, this plant not only saved the engine, but also saved our track. It feels like a cheat, but it's all thanks to the team's brains." Jiaxi felt warm as she listened. This was the first time they talked about dreams during a crisis, instead of just talking about data. He tapped the joystick with his hand and responded, "Yinghui, you are right. I used to be bound by family pressure, and I felt that being a captain was to prove to the old man. But now, alongside you, I understand that sailing is for something bigger, so that every young person like us can pursue their dreams without tripping. Come, cheers to our future." He took out 2 packs of instant osmanthus tea from the storage compartment. As soon as the hot water was poured, the aroma filled the cabin, like the warmth of hometown reappearing in the nebula. The two touched the edge of the cup lightly, the tea rippled slightly in the low gravity, and the emotional bond quietly deepened at this moment. After Yinghui repaired the last line, she breathed a sigh of relief, leaned back on the chair, and looked at the hazy nebula outside the cabin. Her voice softened, with rare longing. "Captain, you know. When I was a child in the Edge colonies, I always dreamed that interstellar navigation was not just a game for the rich. Plants like the blue crystal vine should be the wealth of every planet, allowing poor boys to fly to the center of the galaxy. Imagine if we keep this secret and the Alliance shares technology, the spaceships of the Edge Star can light up the entire night sky just like the Lantern Festival in our hometown. Let's explore together, and there will no longer be the shadow of monopoly. That kind of future is called true freedom. But the silence didn't last long, the alarms sounded sharply. On the holographic screen, the navigation system suddenly went black, and a string of garbled codes covered the interface like a virus. Electronic warfare. Yinghui's overlord launched a jamming attack. Yinghui sat up straight and tapped the keyboard to try to restart. He paralyzed our quantum navigation. It's all guesswork in the fog. Captain, the standard path is gone, we have to dodge manually. Yinghui nodded, and her voice regained its clarity. The pulse jumps every 3 seconds, and the green line deflects 15 degrees to the left. Captain, drive steadily, and I will deploy the quantum interference network to counter his electronic warfare. She activated the stabilizing device, and the energy of the blue crystal vine spread like a network. An unexpected twist happened. The plant's quantum waves not only stabilized their signal, but also entered the fog, interfering with the Overlord's advanced system. On the rear-view screen, Yinghui's red hull flashed, the tail flame was unstable, and the speed dropped sharply. Haha, Captain. The energy of the blue crystal vine is like a Tai Chi push hand, reflecting his attack. His navigation is also messed up and he is spinning in circles. Jiaxi's brows furrowed, but she didn't panic. He quickly switched to manual mode and scanned the remaining green lines of the plant's signal with his eyes. Yinghui, don't worry. The biological signals of the blue crystal vine are still there. They are like living compasses that can lead to energy troughs, that is the safe path. Tell me the rhythm of the pulse and I will follow. His judgment was as calm as ice and resolved the team's panic. This was the growth that emerged from the mid-stage crisis, no longer relying on machines, but trusting partners and intuition. Jiaxi seized the opportunity and controlled the star to accelerate forward. Well done, Yinghui. Now he will suffer the consequences. At this moment, a strange voice sounded from the public channel, with an official seriousness. Star, this is Alliance Investigator Li Sir. We collect by your revelation, the evidence has been confirmed. Yinghui's dark history has been exposed, and his points are being frozen. But be careful, he may jump over the wall in a hurry. We are sending a rescue drone, but the signal is weak in the foggy area. Hold on. The help clues came in time, which boosted the morale of the team. Jiaxi responded, thank you, Sir Li. We will defend it. This is not just a competition, it is justice. Jiaxi's eyes were fixed on the rear-view screen. The 3 red dots were rushing towards him like evil wolves, and the lines of fire trailed by the tail flames drew a ferocious arc in the mist. The sound of the alarm was as harsh as the gongs and drums of a temple festival in his hometown, making people panic, but he took a deep breath and quickly switched his fingers to defense mode. Yinghui, the drone is locked. Their missile heat signature is pointed directly at the engine compartment. The fog area is too chaotic and there is little room to avoid. Give me the energy support of the plants, and I have to get rid of them. His voice was as steady as a rock, without any trembling. This was the calmness honed from the crisis in the fog, no longer the stupid young man who only relied on hot blood to charge, but a captain who could lead the team to reverse. Teamwork shines in the crisis. Yinghui monitors plant signals, Jiaxi drives like clouds and water. They travel through the fog, surpassing 2 lost opponents, and the star ranks first on the scoreboard. The exit from the depths of the foggy area is vaguely visible, guided by blue light like a beacon. But suddenly, 3 more vicious red dots appeared on the rear-view screen, armed drones. Yinghui's voice roared from the channel, boy, do you think you can win by exposing yourself? These little guys have brought missiles to deal with your blue light tricks. Come catch up and let the track see blood. The drones approached like a swarm, trailing flames in the fire line, and the chill of the escalating conspiracy instantly enveloped the cabin. Yinghui gritted her teeth, jumped up from the console, and rushed to the auxiliary panel of the ecological cabin. Her fingers danced on the keyboard like a tapestry, and the vines of the blue crystal vine glowed slightly in the cabin, like a living ivy lantern. "Captain, hold on. I'm increasing the energy output. The quantum fields of plants can form a protective shield, like the umbrella array in my hometown, blocking the heat wave of missiles. But it must be precise, too strong will burn the vines, and too weak will not block Wang Wei's toys." She injected stabilizer as she spoke, and green energy waves surged out on the screen, wrapping the hull of the star. A thin biological shield shimmered in the fog, faintly revealing a blue-green light. The first missile came, and the roar of tearing through the fog was very close. Jiaxi jerked the control stick, and the star rolled sideways like a swallow skimming water. The hull drew an arc in the fog layer. The missile grazed the edge of the shield and exploded. The shock wave caused the lights in the cabin to flash. "Too close." "Yinghui, is the shield stable?" he shouted, beads of sweat falling from his forehead, but his eyes were as sharp as knives, anticipating the trajectory of the second red dot. Jiaxi nodded and dodged the second missile. This time he used the ripples of fog as cover. The ship's hull dived into a low-density fog, and the missile's radar instantly lost focus and exploded in the air. "Yinghui, send it. I'll focus on sailing the ship." He opened the public channel and said in a sonorous voice, "Alliance investigator Li Sir, this is the star. Wang Wei's drone is launching an armed attack, and we have evidence. He is stealing our ecological data and trying to monopolize plant energy. Send an attachment to request an emergency interruption of the event." In the channel, Yinghui's data packets shot out like arrows, including Wang Wei's past illegal eavesdropping records and traces of electronic warfare, like a piece of ironclad evidence that hit the Alliance's review system. 80% stable. The energy of the blue crystal vine is like a Tai Chi ball, which bounces away heat. But Wang Wei, that bastard, has upgraded his drones. They have adaptive AI and will learn our dodges. Yinghui turned around, with a smart smile on her face filled with anger. "Captain, contact the Alliance. We have evidence that Wang Wei stole the tracker. I just dug out his spy records from the Black History data. Send it to them and ask them to suspend the game for review. This is not a competition, it is a crime." The broadcast sounded immediately, and the host's voice was unusually nervous. "Emergency notice. The Alliance has received a complaint from the star, and the competition is suspended for review. Player Wang Wei is suspected of illegal intervention, and the signal of the Overlord is frozen. All ships are slowing down and on standby, and the rescue team is on the way." In the foggy area, the tail flames of other spaceships dimmed one after another, and the track seemed to have been pressed to pause the button, but the red dot of the drone did not pay attention and continued to pounce like a wild horse on the loose. Jiaxi's heart tightened. Wang Wei's approach not only threatened the ship, but also pushed his bottom line. That plant was not just a technology, it was their dream and the hope of the young people on Edge Star. He gripped the joystick tightly, and a brief hesitation flashed through his mind: counterattack. Or run away. But soon, he remembered Yinghui's words, and the vision of a shared future made him determined. "Wang Wei, listen up. This is not your private battlefield. The energy of the blue crystal vine is not to monopolize, but to allow every colony to fly. Stop, the Alliance is watching. If you continue to mess around, you will only destroy yourself." His response was sonorous, without roar, only the majesty of the captain. This is proof of growth. In the face of provocation, he no longer responds to violence with violence, but uses principles to defend his position. Wang Wei laughed, with a hint of madness in his voice. "Principle. There are only winners in the galaxy. Watch the trick." A pulse cannon was fired from the Overlord, grazing the shield and shaking the star. The drone took the opportunity to approach, and the third missile locked onto the ecological cabin. Yinghui screamed, "Captain, the hatch heat signal is off the charts. They are going to blow up the vines." She rushed towards the console, flashing back to the legend of the lost civilization she read in the library of Edge Planet when she was a child, those ancient seeds, brought from a forgotten planet. The blue crystal vine is not a natural evolution, but an alien heritage. It can capture the original energy of the universe. Like the medieval jelly grass, it hides the key to the navigation revolution. Pause. Joke. Yinghui's roar broke in from the private channel, his voice distorted like a grin covered by fog bubbles. Boy, do you think you can escape by being exposed? I'm here in person to see how I smash your ecological cabin. The secret of the blue crystal vine belongs to me. On the rear view screen, the huge figure of the Overlord emerged from the fog. Yinghui switched to manual rear-end mode, and the bow muzzle flashed red, pointing directly at the stern of the star. The drones spread out like escorts, forming an outflanking formation. Yinghui, counterattack. Use the quantum waves of plants to push them back. Jiaxi shouted while maneuvering the ship to make an S-shaped dodge. The fog was torn into rips by the airflow from the stern. His driving was like clouds and flowing water, using the ripples of fog to resolve the aftermath of the bombardment. Yinghui's eyes lit up and she quickly adjusted the output. Yes. Blue crystal vines come from the genetic library of lost civilizations. Their energy fields can interfere with mechanical AI, like vein acupuncture, paralyzing the navigation core of the drone. She injected high-concentration energy, and the green wave spread like a net, sprang out from the ecological cabin, and entangled the nearest drone. The red dot froze, its tail flames sprayed out randomly, fell into the fog and exploded, and the fragments scattered like fireworks. Downed one. Captain, the energy wave is locked on the second one. I need you to close the distance and let the wave field cover it. The range is 10 meters. Zoom in and I'll spread the wave field. Yinghui's voice was excited and coherent. She monitored the pulse of the vines, and the green light shot into the fog like a dragon lantern at a lantern festival. The energy wave touched the second drone, and the AI core short-circuited instantly. The machine beeped and crashed in a fog explosion. The third one tried to circle back, but Jiaxi predicted the trajectory and made a sharp turn. The airflow from the stern carried the plant wave field, sucked it in, and exploded into a fireball. Yinghui, your research saved us. This thing from a lost civilization can not only repair engines, but can also be used as a weapon. But we cannot abuse it. We must let the Alliance share it and let every captain learn to use it to light up the track. Jiaxi understood this and pushed the thrust lever hard. The star used the hidden passage in the fog area to counterattack and approached the drone group. Yinghui, what's the range of the wave field? Yinghui's cannon is coming again. He rolled over to avoid the pulse, and at the same time used manual aiming to activate the secondary weapon. A pulse gun shot out, hitting the wing of the second drone and causing it to spin out of control. Jiaxi breathed a sigh of relief. The boat's hull slid steadily out of the edge of the fog area, and the track mark ahead flashed again. Yinghui leaned back in her chair and wiped the sweat from her forehead. Captain, we won this level. The secret of the plants has been kept. After the Alliance intervened, the competition restarted, and our lead was even greater. Jiaxi nodded, looking at the nebula outside the cabin that was gradually clearing, and tapped the joystick with her hand. Yes, Yinghui. But really the real race has just begun. Yinghui retreated, but he will not give up. We must speed up and rush to the finish line. Let the revolution start from here. The engine of the star is roaring, the green light of the blue crystal vine is pulsating in the cabin, and the team's tacit understanding is flowing like a galaxy, and the challenge deep in the track is waiting for them. Yinghui's overlord roared and approached from behind, firing bursts of artillery fire, but the Alliance's broadcast rang again. Overlord, stop attacking immediately. The support drone has arrived and locked your weapon system. The competition review is completed. Yinghui's violation is confirmed, points will be temporarily deducted and withdrawn. Star, hold on, we will escort you through the fog area. The blue and white Alliance drone sprang out of the fog, blocking Wang Wei's path like a guard. The Overlord's red light flashed, and Wang Wei cursed, "Damn it, you're lucky this time. But I'll dig out the secret sooner or later." He was forced to slow down, his tail flame dimmed, and he retreated temporarily. Yinghui's eyes did not leave the monitoring screen. Her fingers tapped on the keyboard like playing a pipa. The green curve on the screen reached its peak, and the vine's quantum field surged like a tide. "Captain, the plant energy has reached its peak. The blue crystal vine is awakened by the magnetic field of the track, and the output is doubled than before. The engine performance exceeds the limit, the thrust is increased by 30%, and the gravity correction is automatically optimized. But the risk is also high. The overload alarm flashed twice, and I have to prevent it from burning out the core." She adjusted the stabilizer injection, with an edge of excitement in her voice. "Think about it, this thing not only saved us, but if shared, the spaceship of Edge Star can fly like a boss. Captain, what do you think? Ethically, should we reveal everything, or should we hold on first?" The engine of the star was like a roaring wild horse, roaring out of the edge of the fog area. The track mark in front flashed like a lantern, guiding the final bend to the finish line. The Alliance's broadcast was still echoing, the race resumes. "Star's lead is confirmed, and all ships enter the final stage. Pay attention to the gravity distortion of the curve, safety first." Jiaxi's palm pressed against the joystick, feeling the ship's hull tremble slightly in the superlight speed mode, and the green light of the azure vines shine from the ecological cabin, like a dragon lantern in a night market, pulsing with unprecedented intensity. "Yinghui, how's the energy reading? We have to hold on. This corner is a dragon's gate. If you jump over it, you will be the champion." Jiaxi glanced at the rear-view screen. The red dot of the Overlord was far behind, but the shadow was still there. A brief struggle flashed through his mind. The pressure from his family once made him hesitate to share his dream, but now, facing the call of the end, he felt that he had changed. He was no longer the stupid boy who only wanted to win, but a guardian who could light up the galaxy. "Yinghui, ethics. This is not an exam question, it is a debt we owe to the galaxy. The secret of the blue crystal vine should belong to every colony, like the shared well in hometown, everyone can survive if they drink it. But that guy Wang Wei is watching, we have to win the event first, and then push it to the Alliance. Don't worry, I believe you, once the energy is adjusted, we will rush." Yinghui smiled, her face as alert as the playful ghost spirit of the old days. "Captain, your words sound like Dad's lessons, but they are much more down-to-earth than him. Okay, I locked the overload valve, and the plant's quantum waves are now like Tai Chi push hands, taking advantage of the curves on the track. When we enter the curve, the energy will automatically peak back. Hey, wait, network alarm. There is an intrusion signal, coming from behind. Wang Wei, this dog, has not given up, and is here again." Jiaxi's heart sank, and a flash of panic flashed through her heart. This was not artillery fire, but a theft that stabbed straight into the heart. But he took a deep breath, turned to Yinghui and shouted, "Yinghui, don't panic. Cut off the auxiliary line, I will stabilize the ship. You are the queen of engineering, stop him." His voice was as steady as an anchor, with enthusiasm in his encouragement, like holding the hands of his teammates before the game and saying, "Let's rush together." Yinghui bit her lip, quickly switched the firewall, and her fingers were flying. "Captain, there is a backdoor to this invasion. It is a spy program that he buried long ago. Like a poisonous snake in the fog, it bites the ecological cabin database. Wang Wei wants to steal the quantum code of the vines and copy our energy field. But I have a trick, use the plant's biological pulse to push back. Come on, help me locate the source of the invasion." Jiaxi pulled back the joystick and used the thrust from the plant's peak energy to slide the star into the inside of the bend like a swallow. Gravity waves hit like a tidal wave. He predicted the trajectory and made S-shaped adjustments to avoid the twisting point. Locked. Yinghui, the source is in the quantum center of the Overlord, 2 kilometers away. Can your reverse thrust cover it up? We can't let him succeed. If this secret falls into his hands, the voyage of the Milky Way will become his private toy garden. The climax of the chase was like a fire. On the rear-view screen, the tail flames of the Overlord were spraying wildly. Yinghui made a desperate move. The hull squeezed the outside of the bend, the muzzle flashed in preparation, and the invasion progress bar had climbed to 40%. Yinghui's forehead was sweating, but her eyes were firm. She injected a high concentration of stabilizer, causing the vines of the blue crystal vine to tremble slightly, and green light shot into the network lines like dragon fire at the Lantern Festival. Yes. Captain, remember the lost civilization I talked about? This plant is not only an energy source, it has a self-defense instinct, like an ancient guardian spirit. Look at me, the backlash mode is activated. The energy wave spread from the ecological cabin and flowed back along the invasion channel, like a green flood, washing away Yinghui's program code. Yinghui shouted while operating, "Hold on, Captain. We are in the middle of the curve, and the gravity pull is strong. I need you to stabilize the hull and keep the wave field accurately aligned." Suddenly, the red light on the console flashed, and Yinghui's low roar erupted in the private channel. "Boy, the Alliance is deducting points from me. I'm not going to play anymore, I'm going to hack your system. I want all the data on the blue crystal vine, the engine blueprint, the energy frequency, spit it out." The Overlord's red dot was approaching like a ghost. Although it was ahead, the invasion was like an invisible net, entangled in the core of the star's network. On the screen, data flowed wildly, the joystick feedback was sluggish for half a beat, and the gravity distortion of the curve caused the ship's hull to deviate slightly from the track. Jiaxi nodded, sweat slipping into his eyes, but he didn't blink, and the manual mode was fully turned on. The star was as flexible as a sword in the curves. The plant energy made the performance explode, and the speed was close to the edge of the speed of light. "Yinghui, you are the best. Think about us starting from the edge star, this wave of backlash is our counterattack, not only to block him, but also to let the Alliance see his full picture." His encouragement was like a warm current, and Yinghui felt the pressure was lighter, and laughed and scolded, "Captain, your mouth is as sweet as a candied hawse. Okay, the backlash is accelerating. The invasion bar has gone backwards, and now it has entered his system and dug out his dark history." The turning point came suddenly, and Yinghui's channel exploded with a scream, "What the hell? My center is burning. This plant, it's the other way around." The energy of the blue crystal vine is like a living thing, and the backlash invasion not only paralyzed the theft, but also followed the clues, exposing Yinghui's entire conspiracy. A torrent of data popped up on the screen. He not only eavesdropped on the star, but also joined forces with black market dealers to plan to monopolize the seed bank of the lost civilization, and even bribed track officials to change routes and frame his opponents. Yinghui shouted, "Captain, look. Everything has been exposed, his spy network and black gold transactions are all broadcast live on the Alliance channel. Now he is finished." A sense of guardianship surged in Jiaxi's heart. At this moment, he truly grew into a captain, no longer just a pilot, but a beacon of the galaxy. He opened the public channel and said in a sonorous voice, "Alliance, this is Yinghui's complete conspiracy. We use plant energy to counterattack, and the evidence has been released. Request fleet support and stop him before the finish line." The broadcast responded quickly, "Roger. The Alliance fleet has arrived, and the Overlord is locked. Star, keep moving forward, you are heroes." Behind, the blue and white fleet sprang out like a galaxy guardian, blocking the Overlord's path. Yinghui's hull swayed, and the pulse cannon accidentally fired, hitting his own shield. The aftermath of the explosion caused tail flames to spray out randomly, damaging the hull and causing a sudden drop in speed. He roared on the channel, "Damn it, you won this game, but the secret." Before he could finish his words, the fleet's interference wave blocked his signal. Yinghui breathed a sigh of relief and leaned back in her chair. Captain, the backlash is successful and the network is clean. The plant energy is stable and our lead is extended to 5 minutes. Jiaxi looked towards the end of the curve ahead. The star at the end was close at hand. The star was approaching like an arrow. Amidst the roar of the engine, the team's tacit understanding was like the eternal Star Trek, and victory was within reach. Yinghui wiped the sweat from her forehead. The curve on the monitor screen beat steadily like an electrocardiogram. Her fingers tapped the adjustment valve. The vines of the blue crystal vine swayed slightly in the ecological cabin, as if to encourage them. Stable as an old clock, Captain. The plant energy seems to have borrowed the wind from the track, maintaining the output at 95%, and the engine heat is just right without heartburn. The gravity well will pull the hull, but the quantum field of the vines can neutralize the distortion. Think about it, if this thing is popularized, farmers on the Edge Star can also fly spaceships to enter the galaxy, and they no longer need to rely on big companies. Second-hand goods. Her voice was mixed with tired excitement, and her eyes were red from the continuous fighting, but the spark of alertness was still shining. I will upload the data to the Alliance now. The evidence is complete. Yinghui's monopoly plan, he wants to buy out the seed bank and block the technology for the black market to monopolize, so that the small colony will never be able to fly far. The hull of the star sprang out like a runaway horse at the end of the bend, and the blue halo of the finish line pulsated in front, like a neon lantern on the edge of the galaxy, calling every racer's dream. Jiaxi's hands held the joystick firmly, the green light of plant energy reflected on the dashboard, and the low-frequency hum of the engine was like the whisper of an old friend, telling him that everything was under control. Yinghui, the finish obstacle area has entered. The last section is a gravity well array. The track design is like Tai Chi Bagua. There is an inescapable whirlpool and you have to get through it sharply. Is the energy still stable? We can't take a nap here. Jiaxi nodded and fixed his gaze forward. The first gravity well rushed toward him like an invisible giant hand. The ship sank instantly and the instrument panel alarm sounded softly. He gently pulled the joystick, and with the push of plant energy, the star slid sideways across the edge of the wellhead. A flash of green light stabilized its trajectory. Uploaded, Yinghui. This is not our battle alone, it is a gift to the galaxy. The Alliance will understand, the shared era starts from the blue crystal vine, like the rice warehouse in my hometown, everyone has a share. As soon as he finished speaking, the red dot flashed on the rear view screen, and the Overlord squeezed out from the siege of the Alliance fleet. Yinghui's stern flames spurted wildly, like a dying beast. Captain, it's broken. Yinghui didn't give up. He threw away the investigator's trawl and pounced on our tail. Look at the channel, his men are shouting on the black market channel, saying they will have a last-ditch effort. Yinghui's voice rose and she quickly switched to the Alliance's public line. Alliance, this is Yinghui, the engineer of the star. We upload Yinghui's complete data, monopolizing blue crystal vine seeds, bribed track officials, and even deployed a spy network to steal the heritage of a lost civilization. Request emergency intervention, his ship is approaching, intending to collide. The collision came unexpectedly. The Overlord rammed sideways like a runaway arrow, its hull brushed against the star's right wing, sparks flying, and the shield energy plummeting by 20%. The red light on the console flashed wildly, the ship shook violently, and the pull of the gravity well aggravated the imbalance. Jiaxi felt as if the control rod was clamped by iron vices. Damn it! Yinghui, the flanks are damaged, and the engine feedback is slow. Can the plant energy sustain the repair? We have to hold steady in front of the second well. His heartbeat was like a war drum, and his mind flashed back to himself at the beginning of the race. At that time, he was still hesitating under the pressure of his family, sailing the boat as if he was carrying shackles. Now, facing this final blow, he just wants to protect the team and the shared fire. Yinghui gritted her teeth, jumped up from her seat, rushed to the engineering station, and grabbed the temporary repair toolbox in her hand. "Hold on, Captain. You concentrate on driving, and I'll weld the flanks." The biological pulses of the blue crystal vine can generate a temporary shield, like the bamboo basket back home, so tough. She said as she got into the maintenance cabin. The laser welding gun buzzed, and green energy extended from the ecological cabin, wrapping around the damaged area like a vine, repairing cracks. The team's endurance had reached its limit. Jiaxi's arms were sore and his vision was blurred with sweat, but he recalled the entire race, from the thrilling dodge in the meteorite belt, to the intuitive navigation in the foggy area, to the correction at the edge of the black hole. Each step transformed him from a dazed young man into a real captain, no longer blindly rushing for the glory of his family, but lighting up the street for fairness in the galaxy. "Yinghui, hold on. Remember when we started, we were still joking that this event was like a Chinese New Year dragon boat race? Now, we are the leading boat." Wang Wei's channel burst into laughter. Boy, the side is broken. Your little green light trick can't stop my quantum propulsion. Monopoly? I just want to monopolize it so that you fringe bugs can never climb up. The Overlord approached again, and the pulse cannon shot out and hit the edge of the third gravity well. The aftermath of the explosion made the track more distorted. Jiaxi took a deep breath, predicting the trajectory of the vortex at the wellhead, and turned on the manual mode. The star jumped with the energy of the plants, dodged through the center of the well in an S shape, and the green light neutralized the pulling force like a talisman, and the hull slid out steadily. "Wang Wei, you are wrong. This secret is not a toy, it is a bridge for everyone. The Alliance will make every colony fly, like a shared star map, no one can monopolize it." The sound of Yinghui's repairs came from the cabin. "Captain, the wings are welded. Energy is injected, and the shield is raised to 80%. This god of vines will automatically release a buffer wave when it collides." Like the force of Tai Chi, Wang Wei's men were all captured, and his plan was ruined. The data showed that he wanted to use black market seeds to build a private fleet and block the fringe routes. Her laughter was filled with relief, and her tired face reflected a green light, as if she had won a marathon. Behind the scenes, a report from an Alliance investigator rolled into the channel. "All Wang Wei's men have been arrested, and seed samples have been recovered. Overlord, stop immediately for investigation. Star, move forward safely, your discoveries will reshape the interstellar era, the energy of the blue crystal vine will be shared with all colonies. From now on, navigation is no longer a game for the rich." Wang Wei's hull stagnated, the propellers were overloaded, and tail flames were flying around. His final counterattack went out like fireworks. The Alliance fleet's trawl finally locked the Overlord and dragged it outside the track. Wang Wei roared on the channel, "No, this is impossible." The signal was cut off, leaving only static noise. Jiaxi had no time to rejoice. The fourth gravity well was already approaching, and the final halo of the track was very close at hand. He looked back on this journey. The family's expectations were once like a heavy burden, but now they have become motivation. Yinghui's agility is like a lamp, illuminating crises. The secrets of plants are like seeds, indicating a shared harvest. He feels that he has completely transformed, from a hot-blooded kid to a guardian of the galaxy. Every turn proves that victory not only brings championships, but also lights the way for others. The broadcast response was thunderous. "Roger, Star. Investigators have targeted Wang Wei's men, and 3 black market transport ships are being arrested. They are hiding outside the track, carrying stolen seed samples." In the live broadcast across the galaxy, Wang Wei's conspiracy was exposed, and the Alliance fleet accelerated its arrival. The rear screen switched, and the blue and white fleet pounced on several invisible cargo ships like falcons. The laser net was deployed, and the arrests were as clean as catching thieves on the street. Wang Wei's men shouted in the channel, "Boss, the seeds are lost. The Alliance is coming, we can't stand it." But Wang Wei's response was only a sneer, "Shut up. Boy, I'm going to order your plants too. Yinghui, the last well. Full power, let's rush." Jiaxi shouted, and with a push of the joystick, the star rushed into the center of the well like a silver arrow. The plant's energy peak exploded, and green light enveloped the hull, passing through distortions like clouds and fog. Yinghui poked her head out of the cabin, gasping and laughing, "Captain, hold on. This feels like New Year's fireworks, we won." The ship shook, and the blue light of the finish line engulfed the star, taking the lead in crossing. The cheers of the champions exploded on the radio, and the stars of the Milky Way seemed to twinkle for them. Yinghui laughed and patted his shoulder, gasping and sitting back in her seat, "Captain, you sound like a farmer who has won the jackpot." Think about it, from the family stuffiness at the beginning to the green light filling the cabin now, this journey has been like a roller coaster. The Alliance broadcast has exploded, and the whole galaxy is live broadcast, and the dolls of the Edge Star are staring at us. The secret of the blue crystal vine, finally it's broad daylight, no need to hide anymore. She switched to the celebration channel, and cheers suddenly erupted in the cabin. The Alliance commentator shouted excitedly, "Star, Captain Jiaxi. The first one to cross the finish line is yours. This is not just a race, it is a turning point in interstellar navigation, the miracle of the ecological cabin will light up every frontier planet." Jiaxi's communicator suddenly lit up, and his father's image was projected in. The face that used to be serious now actually had a rare softness to it, with the star map wall of the family manor in the background. "Son, you win. It's not the family's victory, but yours. I thought those pressures were training, but I didn't expect them to be shackles. From now on, I support you if you fly your own way." Jiaxi was stunned, and felt warm in his heart. The shadow of the family disappeared like a cloud. He nodded and said, "Dad, the championship is not mine alone, it belongs to the team, it belongs to the galaxy. Blue crystal vine can make every colony take off, like a shared well in my hometown, everyone has water to drink." The father smiled, and the image faded, leaving a message, "I have prepared rice wine from my hometown to celebrate." Before the team's celebration could get more exciting, the rear-view screen suddenly lit up with a bright red light. Yinghui's smile froze, "Captain, something's wrong." The Overlord, it didn't shut down completely. What did Yinghui launch before it collapsed? It looks like a self-destruct device, heading straight for our ecological cabin. In the picture, the hull of the Overlord has been twisted and deformed, the thrusters spurted out the last tongue of flame, and a flashing red cone broke away, dragging its tail flames to lock on the tail of the star, like a vicious wolf pounced on its prey. The Alliance channel was in chaos, alert. Yinghui's ship is overloaded and self-destructs, and the device is aimed at the ecological cabin. The blue crystal vine is the key, we must not let it be destroyed. Star, emergency evasion. Jiaxi's heart suddenly sank, and he tightened his grip on the control stick again. The ship was still coasting, and he quickly switched to manual mode. "Yinghui, the device is fast, and it is expected to hit within 30 seconds. The plants in the ecological cabin cannot make mistakes. They are our lifeblood, and they belong to the Milky Way." His voice was as steady as a rock, and a chill flashed through his heart. Yinghui's madness was like a dying gambler, trying to hold everyone back. Yinghui had jumped up and rushed to the ecological cabin, grabbing the emergency isolation tool in her hand. "Here I come. Captain, you sail the boat in a circle to buy me time. The vines of the blue crystal vine can sense danger, so I isolate them with biological barriers, like the bamboo curtains in my hometown to keep out wind and rain." She got into the cabin door, and the vines automatically curled up in the green light. As if she understood her words, Yinghui quickly operated the control panel, injected energy pulses, and sealed the core area of the plant into independent modules. The device is approaching, 20 seconds away. It has tracking AI, specifically targeting the energy source. Jiaxi gritted his teeth, and the star turned sharply at the outer edge of the end zone, making an S-shaped snake by relying on the aftermath of the remaining gravity well. The green light energy was still pulsing, helping him fine-tune its trajectory. "Yinghui, hold on. Where is the Alliance fleet?" Wang Wei, that bastard, your conspiracy is exposed and you still want to destroy the evidence. From behind, the laser net of the blue and white fleet finally pounced, and the trawl net locked the Overlord. Wang Wei's image flashed in the channel, his face was ashen, and the corners of his mouth twitched. Boy, what are you doing? To win. I would rather destroy the secret of the blue crystal vine than let you share it. This device is a black market quantum bomb, specially designed to explode the ecological cabin galaxy monopoly, starting with me. His laughter was distorted, the ship exploded, and the pieces were scattered, but the self-destruction device was detached and he was chasing after him fiercely. Yinghui's voice came from the cabin, mixed with the hum of the welding gun. Isolation. The vines released a protective field, and the energy was like a Tai Chi ball, bouncing off interference waves. Captain, turn 15 degrees to port, I need 10 seconds. Jiaxi nodded, predicting the trajectory of the device, and the star dived sharply, passing the edge of the terminal halo. Green light enveloped the hull, slowing down the lock of the tracker. The red light of the explosion bloomed behind the stern, a heat wave hit the face, the hull shook violently, and new cracks were added to the flanks, but Yinghui's isolation was timely. The device hit the outer layer of the bulkhead, and the biological barrier was entangled like a vine net, dissolving the impact into harmless sparks. It exploded. But the plant is fine, and the core area is intact. Yinghui crawled out panting, with many scratches on her face, but her eyes were firm. The Alliance fleet's broadcast rang, "Star, the crisis is over. The self-destruction device has been neutralized." The wreckage of Wang Wei's ship was captured, and he himself was escorted for interrogation. Preliminary confirmation revealed the full extent of his conspiracy, not only bribed track officials, but also teamed up with a black market group to steal the seed bank of a lost civilization, planned to monopolize Azure Vine technology, and build a private fleet to block fringe routes. All evidence pointed to him alone, and the Alliance will bring justice to the galaxy. Jiaxi breathed a sigh of relief, and the ship finally stabilized. He turned to Yinghui. "Yinghui, thank you. If it weren't for your cleverness, our green fire would be extinguished. You are not just an engineer, you are my partner, forever." His words were filled with warmth, and their eyes met, suggesting more possibilities after the game, like a tacit understanding between old friends. Yinghui smiled and wiped the ashes from her face. "Captain, why are you so polite? We are a team, just like the Dragon Boat team in my hometown. One person paddles the whole boat. Speaking of which, the aftermath of the explosion just now caused Shaoli to suffer some minor injuries, abrasions on his arms and internal bleeding." She pointed to the back cabin, where a young crew member was covering his arms and his face was pale. Jiaxi frowned and walked over. Yinghui had taken out the extract of the blue crystal vine and dripped it on the wound. Miraculously, the green light seeped in, and the wound healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. The crew exclaimed, "Wow, this is faster than the Alliance's medical cabin." The energy of the vines can not only repair the engine, but also save people. Yinghui nodded and said excitedly, "Yes. It turns out that it has a biological repair wave, but I didn't dig out all the research data. Now, the value is doubled. It not only revolutionizes navigation, but also changes medical treatment. The wounded soldiers of Edge Star do not have to wait for big ships to rescue them." The blue light at the finish line bloomed like fireworks, the hull of the star shuddered slightly, and the hum of the engine gradually subsided, like a breath after the race. Jiaxi let go of the joystick and leaned back on the chair, her chest still heaving violently, sweat sliding down her forehead, reflecting the green afterglow of the dashboard. "Yinghui, we really did it. Champion of the galaxy." His voice was a little hoarse, but full of uncontrollable joy. He turned around and saw Yinghui crawling out of the maintenance cabin. Her face was stained with oil and dust, but her eyes were as bright as lanterns at the night market. The celebrations continued, but this time it was deeper. The video link of the Alliance's top leaders came in, and a white-haired general smiled. "Captain Jiaxi, Engineer Yinghui, your discoveries will reshape everything. We will openly discuss the energy secrets of the blue crystal vine and promote it to all colonies. From now on, interstellar navigation is no longer a game for the rich. Every spaceship can take off with green light, like a shared galaxy. Jiaxi responded, General, this is our honor, but it belongs to the galaxy. The family pressure has been resolved. Now I just want to lead the team forward. The next journey may be to explore the ruins of the lost civilization and let more secrets surface. Yinghui came over and whispered, Captain, this green light can fly far. Outside the cabin, the stars of the Milky Way slowly rotated, and the star, under the escort of the Alliance, sailed towards the Celebration Harbor. The dawn of a new era was blooming from the green light of the blue crystal vine. Jiaxi clenched her fists and prepared to face the next bend. The star slowly slid into its magnetic berth in Celebration Harbor, surrounded by swarms of Alliance patrol ships, their lights flashing like festive fireworks. Jiaxi looked out of the cockpit's viewing window. The stars in the Milky Way seemed to be applauding them. Green light shone from the ecological cabin, reflecting the hull of the ship, like a flat boat riding the wind and waves. Yinghui came over and handed him a bottle of energy drink from her hometown. It was made with blue crystal vine essence and tasted as clear as mountain spring. Captain, take a sip to calm down. The self-destruction device just now almost made my heart stop. Fortunately, your S-shaped dodge was as steady as a veteran, and the Alliance fleet pounced on it in time. The team sat in a circle, and the air in the cabin still had the burnt smell of the explosion, but the laughter overshadowed everything. Yinghui turned on the holographic projection, and replays of the event emerged. The star shuttle shuttled through the distortion at the edge of the black hole, and the green light pulses fueled the flames like a tornado. Yinghui's overlord struggled in the quantum network, and the drones collapsed like a swarm. The blue light broke out at the end, and the glory of the championship bloomed like fireworks. Look at this, Yinghui pointed at the screen and said excitedly, the energy wave of the blue crystal vine countered Yinghui's AI tracker. At that moment, I thought to myself, we not only won the track, but also won the conspiracy. Captain, your prediction saved everyone. From a hot-blooded boy to a mature leader, this change is faster than the speed of light. Jiaxi shook his head and smiled, and a warm current surged in his heart, recalling that before the game, the family's expectations were like a heavy star map that weighed him down. His father always said, a son is only considered a son if he wins. But now, the shackles have fallen to the ground like the old chains. Yinghui, you are right. At the beginning, I just wanted to prove myself. I drove the spaceship like a wild horse and broke through the family circle. Unexpectedly, this journey was not only a speed competition, but also a mental marathon. The fragments of the meteorite belt were like obstacles in life, and I learned to rely on the team. Yinghui's conspiracy was like a dark cloud, and I understood the true meaning of guarding sharing. Thank you, without your cleverness and trust, I would still be spinning in circles. Jiaxi took the bottle and took a sip, feeling warm in her heart. He turned around and patted Xiao Li's shoulder. There were no traces of scars on the young sailor's arm, and the green light of the azure vine made the skin smooth as new. Xiao Li, how do you feel? This green fireman not only repairs the engine, but also becomes your personal doctor. Don't rush to celebrate after the game, go to the medical cabin to lie down and recharge your batteries. Xiao Li grinned, his eyes full of admiration. Captain, thank you. From the meteor shower at the starting point, to the maze in the foggy area, to Yinghui's rear-end collision, I didn't expect you to always be able to save the day. Like the storyteller in my hometown, I always have a backup plan. This champion is worth it. The conference hall is like a giant crystal dome, suspended on the orbital station. The entire map of the Milky Way is projected on the wall, and the lights of each colonial planet pulsate like a heartbeat. As the champion captain, Jiaxi stepped onto the podium, while Yinghui and Xiao Li sat in the front row, their eyes full of pride. Under the stage, the Alliance generals and representatives from various planets gathered together. The white-haired general stood up and applauded, Captain Jiaxi, your star not only conquered the track, but also revealed the green key of the lost civilization. The energy of the blue crystal vine not only repairs the light speed engine, but also generates biological shields and medical waves. This is revolution. Jiaxi took a deep breath, looked across the audience, and his voice was as steady as the command from the cockpit. Everyone, the competition starts from the family pressure at the starting point. I once thought that winning the championship was the end. But Yinghui's conspiracy let me understand that interstellar navigation is not a cake for everyone to eat. The blue crystal vine comes from the rare seed bank of the ecological cabin and should belong to the entire galaxy. We cannot let it become a monopoly weapon, like the water well in our hometown, which is the long-term solution. I propose that the Alliance immediately promotes technology sharing and equips every spacecraft and every colony with a green light system. Farmers on the Edge star can use it to speed up food delivery, wounded soldiers can use it to heal their wounds. The communicator buzzed, and the image of the Alliance's commissioner popped up. Captain Jiaxi, welcome to the Central Star territory. The Interstellar Alliance conference is about to begin, and you and your team are honored guests. The secret of the blue crystal vine will be discussed openly at the meeting. This is a historic moment. Jiaxi nodded, and the team quickly put on the official Alliance badge. The star's hatch slid open, and they stepped onto the floating platform in the harbor. There was a crowded celebration outside, with colonists from the Edge stars waving flags and shouting, "Green Light Champions! Share the galaxy!" The air was filled with the scent of alien flowers, mixed with the smell of barbecue and rice wine, like a galactic version of a temple fair. The conference entered the trial phase, and Yinghui was escorted to the virtual trial stand. His figure was old and haggard, and his former ambitions were flickering like a candle. The Alliance judge read out the evidence. Yinghui, you bribed track officials, deployed spy drones to steal blue crystal vine seeds, and teamed up with black market groups to plan to monopolize technology and block marginal routes. Your self-destruct device almost destroyed the ecological cabin and threatened the security of the entire galaxy. The evidence is conclusive and you are sentenced to life imprisonment. In the desolate star prison, he was deprived of his qualifications as a racer and his spaceship technology was confiscated. Yinghui lowered his head and murmured, I originally wanted to build a private fleet and rule the galaxy. Unexpectedly, the green light does not belong to one person. His image faded, the conspiracy collapsed, and no one in the audience sympathized, leaving only a fair response. Jiaxi looked at the empty judgment seat and thought, this is the price of growth. From an opponent to a lesson, he taught me that ambition without a bottom line is nothing but ashes. After the meeting, Yinghui was named by the Alliance to lead the plant research project. She stood next to Jiaxi and waved the data pad excitedly, Captain, they gave me full authority. I will optimize the quantum fluctuations of the blue crystal vine into standard modules, so that the ecological cabin of the Edge star can be upgraded overnight. The medical application will be even better, it can cure radiation injuries and save countless miners. Thank you for letting me climb from the maintenance cabin to the research platform. Jiaxi smiled. Hug her, Yinghui, this is your contribution. From your biological barrier in the game to your current leadership, you have always been the guardian of the green light. Our partner is not only on the track, but also in the future. Shaoli came over and raised his glass, the team will last forever. Captain, Sister Yinghui, next time you explore the ruins of a lost civilization, count me a share. The family communication lighted up again, and the father's image was as warm as before. Son, I watched the conference. You are no longer the young man who was chased by pressure, but an interstellar hero. The family business transformed, invested in green light sharing, and brought Yinghui to drink rice wine when he returned to his hometown. Jiaxi's eyes were slightly hot. Dad, thank you. The shackles are lifted, I'm flying higher now. The image turned off, and he turned to the team. Everyone, the competition is over, but the adventure has just begun. Looking back on this journey, from the desperate situation of engine failure to the miracle of green light restart, we not only won the championship, but also won the unity. Because of shared prosperity, the colony will be like a family, and the lights of Edge Star will be brighter. Night fell in the central star field, and Jiaxi stood alone on the viewing platform. The starry sky was like an endless picture scroll, and the green lights were like new shoots breaking through the ground. He recalled his growth trajectory, from passionate driving, breaking out of the family shadow, to mature decision-making, guarding the future of the galaxy. The inner peace is like the still water of the harbor, with no regrets or worries. Yinghui came over and leaned on his shoulder. "Captain, what are you looking forward to?" "The next bend." Jiaxi held her hand and looked at the stars, "the infinite future. Green light leads the way, let's fly together. The Milky Way is turning, the prosperity of the new era is coming like a tide, human colonies are united, and the navigation revolution will never stop." Thunderous applause erupted from the audience, and an Edge Star representative stood up. "The captain is right. Our spaceships there are old, and super light speed is a dream. Now, with the sharing of green light, children can go to school on the central star without having to wait for a big ship to pick them up." Yinghui whispered to Shaoli in the audience, "The captain's words are as reasonable as the village chief in his hometown, down to earth and inspiring. We all see his transformation from a passionate young man to a leader." Shaoli nodded. Yes, in times of crisis, he held the joystick tightly, but now he holds the microphone tightly and leads the entire galaxy.